Miami. Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heapy Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, we have Franky G, 2K coach. What's up, Franky?
I need the pre-gaming host.
Host of pre-gaming. I want you guys in chat, by the way. Shout out to Twitch chat. Shout out to our podcast listeners, our YouTube audience, everyone that makes this possible. Please let me know how my audio is. I've gotten some complaints on Twitter that my sound specifically is a little low and everyone else is really high. So please let me know if that's the case so I can fix it on stream. I'm trying my bestest out here to make sure that that I am not too hot, but I'm not, too low. So let me know. I just turned up the volume a bit.
Chat saying you sound good.
That's what we care about. Tyler Hero triple-double yesterday. Chat is correct. A lot to get into today. The first thing we have to talk about, there's a very special shout-out that I think has to be given, to this Heat season, and we had a really good messenger give it.
Shout out to Kyle Lowry. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. Number 7. From West Philadelphia. My bad. North Philly.
Man messed up. Didn't even know if he saw West Philly, wanted to do the Fresh Prince. Is North Philly, get it right. But
we gotta cancel him. We gotta cancel Tyler.
Cancel Tyler. Absolutely right. Just want to give a quick shout out to what Kyle's doing. Obviously, I'm the Kyle Lowry guy. I feel like I've held back on my love for him because I don't want to be biased to the point that Alf, host of Hangover Time, which, by the way, Hangover Time's on Wednesday against the Celtics. That's not a game you're going to miss. Jason Tatum's back. Jimmy looks like he's going to be back. So that's going to be a really exciting game. So you want to make sure that you're in for Hangover Time. And if you're local in Miami, I'm going to the 5 Reasons watch party. So hanging out with Ethan and Alex and Brady and all those guys. So come on out to wherever that watch party is. But I'm gonna be there. Christian's gonna be there too. So we're gonna have a good time. But
wherever that watch party is.
It's like by Wynwood in some distillery. I don't know. God knows, it's Miami Art Week. Who knows what's going on out there? Tropical Distillery in Miami. Whoever is on the Heatbeat account, that might be Brian. But yeah, so just shout out to Kyle. Just shout out to to Kyle. We love it. I think he deserves the love and kind of the minute load and everything. Franky, he's been amazing. I know the shooting's been low, but he's been amazing. I mean, what he's provided for them, the minute load and everything has been amazing.
It's the second straight season of him being the most consistently available of the 4 main players of the Bam, Tyler, and Jimmy. And obviously, they didn't pull out the same win-loss record as last season, but once Bam got back, it was a lot more competitive. And
they lost heartbreakers though, Franky. Like they
lost close games.
They lost heartbreakers.
It wasn't like last season where you had guys where it was just those guys missing. You were missing Max for games. You're missing Duncan for games. Pretty much everybody but Caleb missed a game at some point, and they had to string together bodies, and the Butchers of Biscayne had to get their hands off their corpses so they can be readily available. But Kyle's, a competitor, and he brings the most out of his teammates. And this discussion of him, whether he should come off the bench or not, I think that's been easily put to rest.
That's put to rest. And this is not to say bad things about Gabe or Dragic, because I love both those guys. I was super wrong about Gabe Vincent, even going back to last season. And Dragic, I think I said he is my favorite Heat point guard ever. I don't know if his jersey should be retired, but, I would love to see them honor him in some way. I love that guy. He's one of my favorite Heat players. But to suggest that, what does Lowry do better than Dragic and Gabe at this point, I think it's a little insulting to Kyle. I think you see, when he's put in a position where he needs to make a lot of decisions and be responsible for basically everything on the floor, you kind of saw how that went. and he kept the team with a lot of two-way guys and a lot of guys who I think clearly aren't super NBA ready. In games against teams that had good records. I mean, say what you want about Washington. Washington had a winning record. They might still have a winning record, but obviously lost twice to Miami. The Cleveland game, whatever. You get blown out by a good team losing all your players. That's on the road. That's going to happen. But they were in those games. Minnesota, a tough team that is, they're 500. They're going through it, but you're missing all your guys on the road, and they went up, with Bam and Max back in the lineup and Tyler, and they went into Atlanta on the road and they beat another team that's, has a really good record, has a top 10 defense, by the way. And Miami shredded their defense. Atlanta's actually not doing it with offense this year, which is pretty funny. They're doing it with defense. Yeah, but just like a quick shout out to Kyle, because we're gonna get to more like the team elements right now today on this podcast, but just wanted to give some love to my guy who I think a lot of people kind of shat on.
You gotta play that Ethan sound for him.
Oh, I gotta. I'm working on something for you, Ethan Skolnick. I'm working on something for you. Don't worry. Frankie, today we're talking about defense, man. Miami, they're top 10 in defense. They're number 8 net rating, 8 defensive rating. Dunks and threes has them 9th in adjusted D rating. That's adjusting for the offenses that they faced. So I think the numbers match on both sides. So it's not like a fluke thing of, they've played a bunch of bad teams. Like their adjusted numbers are good. They've played a lot of zone. They have their shot profile is what you think. They allow the third fewest attempts at the rim, and they allow the most threes in the league. They allow a very high percentage at the rim. They're the fourth. They allow 66% shooting at the rim. They're fourth highest in the league. And for the 3-point shooting, it's equally as high. It's not as high as it's about 10th. So do with that what you will. Those are the shots that Spo likes to give up. Frankie, we're about a quarter in. We're 21 games in. What do you make of the defense?
I can't even say we can make a full assessment yet because they haven't been healthy. But we also don't know if they'll ever be fully healthy. I think Spo really earns his money on the defensive end. As great of a coach he is, it's the defensive side that we need to always talk about and remember. That's where it's his bread and butter. And this season is another impeccable job defensively. With the bodies available, with the talent available, the lack of size and experience on a lot of nights, having to call up two-way guys and then having to play together substantial minutes, having Haywood Highsmith, Drew Smith, Jamal Cain, like guys like that, Orlando Robinson, like these are the guys who have gotten in this lineup and had to play 20 minutes a night sometimes, and they're doing a damn good job. Like you said, the top 10 defense, that's all you can ask for right now. We've seen a lot of different ways. We've seen the switching, the drop. We've seen 2-3 zone, 1-3-1, 3-2. Press, there's no coach. I mean, it's him and Nick Nurse that are the most experimental on the defensive end. And I know you love that.
They're wacky. They're zany. They're wacky.
They just do what needs to get done on that end, which is funny because how both some of their fans of the fan base feel about their offense. The irony. On the defensive end, though, he does what needs to be done. I like that we're seeing more Bam and drop this season than he's played in the previous season. I think that's going to be crucial with the lack of size and that's in the projected starting lineup whenever it's going to be healthy. But I think they've done for the patchwork of this season as it's been to be in the top 10 a quarter of the way in. It's definitely a positive.
So the rebounding is obviously going to be a headliner for them. They're 13th in defensive rebounding, which is, pretty okay.
Is that percentage?
Yes, defensive rebounding percentage. Total rebound percentage, they're 23rd. And I believe in offensive rebounding, they're either dead last or close to dead last. They're 20th. So obviously the offensive rebounding hurting them. But the stuff on defense, the defensive rebounding has been it's been solid, and I think it's been serviceable. And I think if you're as small as they are, if you're holding it down on the defensive boards to about 13th, I think that's a win.
Yeah, I agree. And they've, the big difference this season has been their 4 spot, obviously, with Caleb. PJ did guard a lot of point guards, but he was able to switch onto a big and be interchangeable with Bam in that end and help. And he was strong and physical on the board, so that helped them. Caleb is more of a jumper than a boxer outer. But he does a great job rebounding for his position. Tyler's an upgrade on the rebounding from as opposed to Max and Duncan last season, but Tyler does like to steal his teammates' rebounds sometimes. But no, he's a great rebounder in his position. So it's to be expected that they could compete when they're healthy and available.
So also, kind of looking at their health and everything, Frankie, Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle have played about 250 minutes, which is not a lot, but it's more than I thought. And defensively, they're about at a 111 defensive rating, which is not – I don't really think that's where you want to be if you're them. Now, that puts you right around the top 10. I think your big three have to be a little bit more dominant because last year, I mean, those guys, they had a sub 100 defensive rating. So you've taken a bit of a hit, and I think part of that's no PJ. I like what Zach Lowe said on the Nikias podcast. The Dunker spot,
not the Nikias spot.
The Nikias and Steve Jones podcast. I'm just proud of my man, dude. I'm just proud of my friend. He was talking about how just like PJ knows how to help and protect the rim after playing so much small ball 5, that when Caleb comes to help, it's not as forceful as PJ, and I think that shows. But Miami does, as we just said, they prevent shots at the rim. They do a really good job of that, as we said, the third fewest, and the teams next to them are Milwaukee, Boston, and Golden State. Those are the teams around them, and then Cleveland right under Boston. So that's good company to be with, really good, solid teams that are very well coached and that that are gonna be good. So their shot profile, Frankie, I think is good. I think the zone, for as annoying as it is for us, I think it's working in the way that Spo needs it to. Because they didn't run zone last year, and this is the shot profile they gave up. And I think if you're the coach and if you know that we're a little smaller, we need to fix the rebounding, and we're playing a lot of guys who, frankly, are not able to switch and are not going to do what we need to do, I think this is not the worst result.
Yeah, like I said, it's a patchwork job. Like, ideally, I don't think even Spo would ideally play this much zone this season. If you asked him to in training camp, but he's done what needs to be done for this season to survive, and they've gone away from things that aren't working. They've made a lot of tweaks and adjustments, a lot less early switching in the shot clock. They'll go to a drop with till 14 seconds on the clock, and then it's switch, and it's when you're up against the clock and you have Bam guarding you and you're Trae Young, it's not as easy to get a look that you want. I love the and Siobhan's talked about this a lot. The 2-3 has been a lot softer than the 3-2, and I love the implementation of the 1-3-1 because you get an odd front. You're stronger on the perimeter. There's been times where they run deadmen on the bottom, which is confusing. I think that's just some communication issues with knowing what zone they're in. But and we saw a lot of communication issues early on in the season with simple things like screens, navigation, slips, ghost screens. They really just kept lack of communication, miscommunication, whatever it was. They were having issues and consistently having breakdowns because of that. And they've been a lot sharper on that end.
I think just the point of attack has just been sharper in general too. By the way, shout out to Shades 50. He's in chat right now. So join late, fiance in the hospital, baby coming at any time, ran home to let the dog out, listening on the way back. Congrats, bro. We love you. Thanks for that. Go to the baby though. Hurry back. But thank you for listening to us. Since we're
more like Shade's daddy.
Shade's daddy. Everybody in chat, congratulations to my guy. That he doesn't have a sub. Somebody should gift him a sub. Because Shades 50 is an OG here, and he's about to have a baby, and there are a lot of diaper expenses coming up. So somebody should gift him a sub.
Yes.
Yeah, Frankie, you're absolutely right. I think the stuff on ball has been a lot better. I think the zone is kind of sharpened up there. I always think of that Portland game. I thought they were very aggressive on the ball handlers. And I think that's in general kind of their objective is really, and I thought they were good against Mitchell in the Cleveland game for as bad as that was. I think some of the positives early on, you could say they were very aggressive on the ball handler. They kind of made it tough. And I generally like that from them. And I think without Jimmy kind of complicates things because that's really, he's your main kind of help guy, especially when Bam is usually at the top. You know, Jimmy's the help guy that's going to be felt. Shout out to Le Pooper for gifting our boy Shay's Video Tier 1. Love that. And I like I said, they've made wine out of water. The situation hasn't been great. And I think for as much as we've talked about this is a down year for Spo, and I think we can, another day we'll have some conversations on offense. I think he was ultimately right in the zone. I think they did work out kinks. And I imagine it's going to look a little bit better with Jimmy. And I think the second half against the Suns, Frankie, is kind of indications on what the high end of that defense looks like. Because the Heat, for all intents and purposes, do force a fuck ton of turnovers. That is something new to this team that they didn't before. They really get out in transition and really just get you out of the game. Caleb and Jimmy have been really, really good about that. And that is going to help their offense in the long run, but that kind of combined with kind of the new wrinkles is the next evolution, I guess, for this group.
Yeah, and the great thing about them being so turnover forcing is that they have the athletes now. They have a better athlete in Caleb at the 4. And when he's at the 3, he holds his own with the other 3s in the league. It's not like playing a different position. He's taking advantage of it. But, Bam's getting out and running, pushing. We talked about this on the pregame show, but when Bam's, I feel like Bam's been more assertive in bringing the ball up.
Yeah.
It's not just bringing the ball up, giving it up and running the offense. He's dribbling it up to the free throw line and making that big drop, and that's opening up a lot for him, on the handoffs and the curls and the early offense. But you got Jimmy when he comes back. He can obviously take advantage of transition. Caleb does a great job. You have 2 great outlet passers in Kyle and Tyler that you can take advantage of those transition runs. So you're turning defense into offense when you're not a great half court team. We've seen it since the Big 3 era. That's been a Miami Heat staple. Obviously, they haven't had the athletes in the last few years to do it the same kind of way, but you see Spo finds a way year in and year out how to be a top 10 defense, whether he's got to play zone a lot more than he wants to, whether he's got to play man-to-man, trap, drop, switch, whatever the roster entails and allows him to do. Spo's going to do his job defensively.
It was kind of weird early in the season because they're a defense first team. So for them not to have been felt that way is kind of weird. And I think rightfully with getting Bam back in the lineup helps a ton.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's going to change. Getting Jimmy back, as we said earlier, is kind of give them more bite. Miami 6th in opponent turnovers, and that number has dropped considerably since Jimmy's been out of the lineup. So I would monitor that as they get their guys back, because Jimmy is so key in kind of playing the passing lanes and being really aggressive and kind of that kind of stifling. So look out for that, but they're still top 10 even in this absent. Miami low on deflections, Frankie. They're bottom 4, not as active. I know charges are way down for them as well. That's the kind of stuff I think they can improve on. Their backline rotations I don't think have been as sharp as we're used to. And that might just be minute loads are really rising and guys are tired. But hopefully as they get their players back, they can kind of give Kai a couple breathers here and there and kind of patchwork this back to where we know it has to be. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And for them to be ready to absorb a new player, hopefully by the trade deadline, to really kind of take them past where they want to be.
I think that the lack of charges is also a product of lack of man-to-man. You're in less rotation in in zone because you're just covering a spot, as opposed to in the man-to-man where you like to talk about their scramble ability, and that was one of the things they love to do. Kyle, Max, Duncan were the leaders of that. help. And I think PJ was among there in the charges taken as well. But when you're in zone, you have the Deadman or Bam in the back line, and you don't have to take it and take charges as much in the restricted area. And then you have your wings. You have Kyle, Jimmy, Caleb, Drew. Drew's been phenomenal defense. Hamish, they've been phenomenal defensively, and they've been picking, getting deflections, getting passes, knocking the ball off knees and stuff like that. They've been really good in that end. But I think once everyone's healthy, like you talked about the Suns game where they probably played, I think that they played less zone in that one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And they play more to man. That once they get Jimmy available and they can go back to that man-to-man and see how they really can get this defense to be more consistently able to play man-to-man, I think you'll see those charges spike up again.
And we've seen Cooper Moorhead kind of tweet, like, some nights their man-to-man is giving up like 1.2 points per possession, and the zone is giving up 88 points per possession. I believe that was a Hawk game. So the zone is working better than the man.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of natural soft spots in their lineups, and, they have to really, really right now focus on getting the offense back to where it needs to be, because the offense has just not been there. They're 25th in adjusted offensive rating. It's just brutal. So that number needs to go up. They need to find a way to kind of juice. But I agree with the thinking of the team, because both their offense and their defense was either mid or bad. And I thought getting the defense back up to where it needs to be was priority number one. And now that we're kind of getting back to where it needs to be, now we could start kind of focusing on, okay, how do we get more scoring opportunities, stuff like that. But as we talked about last show, Bam in the half court has looked fantastic, and we're not going to focus too much on offense today. Today is more of a defensive focus. And I see a couple questions in chat. We're gonna do a mailbag segment. We're gonna bring that back. So we're gonna kind of circle back to some of y'all's questions in the mailbag segment. But
yeah,
Franky,
and I've got Cooper's for last night. In man-to-man, they were 1.11 points per possession in 26 possessions in man. And then in zone, it was 0.807 points per possession.
I was close.
57. Yeah, you almost nailed it.
I was close, yeah.
But the thing is, you don't get a lot of reps like that in the NBA. Like Coop also added that in the last 6 games, the Heat have used over 330 possessions of zone. That's more than 21 teams used all of last year.
Yeah.
And that's just in a 6-game stretch.
Spo's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but that's
Spo's crazy, dude.
The creativity. Like, this guy is fucking MacGyver on defense.
I feel bad that we slandered him. There was a point that Alf and I were like, maybe Spo's having a down year. I take it back. I'm sorry, Eric.
I mean, it was just you saw returning players make mistakes they weren't making last year. It was a big part. That was a big part of it. But once everybody got kind of on their shit and woke up, it picked up. It was only like a 5-game stretch. But problem is, once they fixed the defense, they were still losing games.
Yeah.
So it didn't fucking matter.
Well, and now that, obviously, listen, they've taken a step back. I think the role guys, Max, Max, Gabe, Duncan, Deadman has looked really good the last week and a half. But, the other guys have and I don't think Deadman's rebounding is way down too. So, and Deadman's not giving you the juice offensive rebounding wise that he gave you last year early. So everybody's just not been as good. Kyle, not as he's kind of weird. I think his defense has slipped a little bit, but I think on offense, I think he looks better than he did last year this time. I mean, the shooting has been good, and the downhill zip has been nice. Kyle's shooting, pretty decent, considering I always remind everybody he was in the 20s until the fucking trade deadline, and then he went on a tear. He's at 36%. That's not horrible. It's not great, but it's better. So he shot 38 for last year.
I think this season Kyle's, just to touch on the offense, but Kyle's been more involved offensively. Like when guys are available.
Feel him.
Yeah, he was very much pass the ball, get the ball moving, and connecting to get all the young guys involved and the role players involved, especially when Bam and Jimmy missed time. But with them with all the role players not playing as well, he's had to take more of a focus of creating his own shot, getting more assists than secondary assists. And but you saw last game, when Tyler available, Kyle was giving him the ball. letting him run the offense, and Tyler had a great distribution game. But Kyle contributed as well. You know, he didn't shoot the ball well, but he had 9 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, 1 block. Like he was felt.
He was felt, and I think that's. And by the way, I mean Miami right now they're sitting at 10th in the East. They're 2 games back of 4th. Indiana currently holding 4th. I think that
That's how you know it's early.
they avoided. I think if they had continued this slide any longer, we could have been dealing with like real catastrophe. They're at 10 and 11. You know, because you got this stretch of like Washington and Atlanta. I thought that Atlanta win was really big considering they're going to play Boston twice. I think likely a split, but we'll see.
You need a split.
I think you need the split. I now at this point it's kind of mitigating, you know, what has happened, right? Because you got injured, and even when you weren't injured, you were not playing well. So you dug yourself a hole. You have Boston, then you have Memphis, I believe. In Memphis, yeah. So you have Memphis on the road. So those 3 games are going to be difficult. You get the Pistons, the Clippers. Clippers going to be a hard, and I believe that's at home. Yeah, that's at home. But still, good team. Don't know what quiet stat is going to be. But you gotta split those Boston games, and you want to take that Memphis game. They took Memphis on the road last year without Jimmy. Which I think, Frankie, we even talked about it. We're like, that's a game that we expect them to lose, considering zippy athletic guys are really their kryptonite. But they gotta put together a good chunky win streak now with some good wins on their plate on the road, because they've been, what are they, 1-7 or something, like in their last 8 on the road.
Awful.
Something insane. I think the only road games that they've won are like at Portland and at Atlanta. Am I correct?
I believe so.
I believe they have 2 road wins.
It. Yeah, last night was their second road win. They're 2-7 on the road.
Insane, right? So they got to really start stacking up some wins, which I think that the schedule, while difficult, I think they can make something work.
Yeah, Boston's one of the hottest teams and you could say they're definitely the hottest team in basketball
Boston's
right now.
Sneaky. I mean, their defense has been like kind of eh.
It's been their offense, yeah.
They're 18th
have like
in
historically
defense.
Good offense right now.
They're 18th in adjusted defensive rating, and they're first in adjusted. They have a 121 adjusted offensive rating, so yikes.
Yeah.
They're like the bizarro Milwaukee Bucks, who have like a great defense and like a really like oh my god offense.
Yeah. But like you mentioned, this is the stretch. Especially right after that, you have after the Clippers game, you got San Antonio, Indiana, Oklahoma City, Houston, San Antonio, Chicago, Indiana. Like that's a stretch you need to fucking take advantage of. This is where you can climb up the standings. Like if you struggle, if you play 500 ball in that stretch, and you lose more than 1 game in that stretch, that could be your season right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to get to the new year kind of around the top. I think you want to. I think a goal for this team in the short term should be get up to somewhere 6 through 4. I think that's I think that's your target getting into the new year. And I think I think ideally you just want to get out of the play-in. I think 5 is a nice realistic goal, but anywhere 4 to 6. Correct the ship so that you can go into the trade season, turn of January, when you can be like, okay, well, this is what we have, right? We have this on defense. We like playing this way. How can we either fix a hole or augment what we like, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And I think that I know fans love talking trades and speculating, but I think we can all agree that some trades are going to be likely. I don't think they're bringing everyone back. You have a lot of guys with expiring deals, contract years, that you're going to have to make some moves regardless. And, for this year and for the future. And then we'll see the buyout market as well, what it looks like.
Frankie, they have to make a decision on Gabe. And they have to make
Gabe, Max
is the one. Yeah, I mean, I think the big one here is what are they going to do with Max? Mm-hmm. Not a ton of teams have cap space next year. It's kind of weird. At least not a lot of good ones. So, he's looking at if a team wants to overpay or a team give him the MLE, Miami could feasibly give him the MLE, and then at that point you're just signing and trading, and Miami has to play ball there. So that's going to be interesting. And if they feel like they can keep him, I think listen, Duncan, Bertans, Gary Trent, all these guys have similar kind of deals. I was talking to Tiff and Bond last night. Frankie, were you? I don't know if you were on with us when we were discussing.
No, it was after the show.
Yeah, it was after the show. We were kind of talking about like, what is at the end of the day, Max is like a fourth and fifth starter, right? Chat's asking MLE mid-level exception. The mid-level exception, which is a percentage of the cap that you get. And Miami, who's going to be an over-the-cap team, gets a taxpayer's mid-level exception, which is around like 12 to 15 million, like 3 years.
Would they be able to use the biannual as well?
So the biannual hard caps you. So if you use the full but the biannual is too small for Max. And if they use the MLE,
I just meant like for someone else.
Yeah, they could, but it caps you. It hard caps you. But if they're gonna use the full MLE on Max, then we'll see. So yeah, that's kind of like what they're looking at, kind of going forward and all that. So we'll kind of take a temperature check on them. So listen, we're bringing back a classic. It's 10 years of Miami Heat beat. If you're an OG, you might be familiar with some of our works. Now, we've tried mailbags in the past, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But we're gonna go back to our roots here, Frankie.
Welcome to a new segment we like to call the Heat Beat Mailbag. You've sent us your questions and hot takes using the hashtag MHB Mailbag. Now it's our turn to give you our answers and tell you how wrong your opinions are.
I'm so excited. I've never done one of these.
So we don't have our own questions. We're going to take Cooper Moorhead's questions. Cooper Moorhead on Twitter is fielding questions for a mailbag. And I thought, you know what? We're just going to take his. So at Fezbutter asks, is Haywood Highsmith the Max Strus or the Duncan Robinson of Rodney Magruder's? Frankie.
I was not a Rodney fan.
Whoa, not even preseason Rodney?
Never. I thought Rodney was a fraud, and I was right. I'm going to say Duncan Robinson of Rodney Magruder's.
Ooh. See, I would go...
He's a better defender than Rodney, but he's a zero on offense. Rodney,
I kind of agree with you. I think that Haywood Highsmith is more of a Duncan Robinson of Rodney Magruder's. I agree. I think that's okay. Also, chat saying Caleb already has our MLE already. Yeah, but Miami is going to be able to sign him over like the tax, over like the cap, because they'll
taxpayer mid-level, right?
I believe they have his bird rights. They don't have him on that weird like Hassan deal where they didn't have bird rights, so they don't have to do that as far as I'm concerned. I just use the MLE as kind of like a
right. They have like partial bird rights. It's not like full bird rights, but they learned from Hassan to give them the third year. Well, sign them at the end of the season and sign them for 2 years.
Just to clarify that. Okay, so somebody else asked Cooper. Our own Kelly O'Burner says, Coop, I'm wondering what you make of the zone. In past seasons, we've seen Spo called defenses like pitchers. He'll have a base coverage as his four seam and then sprinkle in off-speed pitches. Is the zone his new four seam? Is this an emergency tactic? Would love to hear your thoughts. I don't know what a four seam is. I don't play baseball.
It's a fastball. It's like your main fastball, your main pitch.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
so it's like your main coverage.
Goddamn baseball analogies, I didn't know who Sandy was until yesterday.
How dare you?
Yeah, I like literally don't follow baseball, so I was trying to slander Messi, and I said he would be the fourth best athlete here behind Bam, Tua, and Jimmy. Someone's like, "Excuse me, Sandy," and I go, "Who the fuck is that?"
Unanimous Cy Young winner.
Yeah, that's on the Marlins. When I Googled, I found out that's on the Marlins for not like making that known. They should have.
I feel like you have them blocked.
I don't have them blocked. They should. They should be in my face. They should be promoting tweets as we have a fucking Cy Young winner who's unanimous. I don't know how common that is to win a unanimous, but that seems like important.
It's not common. It's happened like 4 times.
Okay. Oh, so it's not common. So it's like that's a feat. That's a huge feat.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, and he seems like a cool dude. His name's Sandy.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So is he
Dominicano?
Is he Dominican?
Yes.
I'm going to the World Baseball Classic this year.
Enjoy. I'm excited. You need to go to the Clevelander. I know it's not there anymore, but It's so much fun. We went for a game, and there were still Dominican. It wasn't a Dominican game, but there were still Dominicans there
Oh, papa,
traveling, and they
tigre,
were,
tigre.
oh my god, mi tigres. We were having so much fun.
Bro, I went to
So some
DR.
dude from New York bought me like 3 or 4 shots
Love it.
just because they're like, "Tú eres dominicano, primo."
Yankee hat.
Yeah, no, they had the DR.
Oh, the DR hat.
bro.
Excuse
The
me.
DR hat. You got to do it.
No,
with
for
that.
sure. I went to a DR US game. I did not know baseball could get lit like that.
Oh, WBC is fun,
Bro,
bro.
everybody, you know the little instruments, that metal tin with like the little. Everybody was like,
no, that was
yeah, and everybody was fucking dancing merengue, fucking playing
my
instrument.
God.
I was like,
Plátano power, bro.
that was Team Mongo as fuck. It was the most lit shit I've ever seen in my life.
That shit was so fun. I love the WBC.
Yeah, I'm excited, but yeah, so yeah, Kelly asked about the 4 seam. I kind of think that Frankie, they're just sitting on their laurels until they get kind of their starting lineup sorted out with whatever move that they make in the future, and then they'll have it as kind of an off speed, kind of counter. I don't know where you stand on that.
Well, to keep it a baseball,
Somebody asked, what was the question again? It was about the Heat zone. We got sidetracked. The Heat zone defense, if it's going to be their main coverage or more of a counter going forward deep into the season.
Well, to keep it a baseball, it's like your fastball is not working. Your arm's a little sore. You got to throw the changeup a little bit. Changeup is working, getting hitters out. You got to keep going to it until your fastball is what it used to be. So once they have Jimmy's kind of their fastball. Jimmy's one of the keys to their man-to-man defense. You have your Jimmy's your nail help, Bam's your switch and drop big. Caleb's your point of attack. And you have 2 of those pieces. You can't really rely on the man-to-man without the nail help. Hamish has done a great job there. Kyle's done a pretty solid job there considering the size. But the instincts are there. But once Jimmy comes back, I think we'll see the man-to-man. And hopefully we see him Wednesday. I think that's been the target date for a while now.
Yeah. So I totally agree. Daniel ESQ asks, is Adebayo's recent offensive performances a turning point, or is it just temporary until, say, Jimmy returns? Do you agree that Adebayo taking the leap, end quote, is absolutely necessary for the Heat to really succeed this year? I'll start with this. I do think that he needs to take some sort of improvement, whether that's a leap, a hop, a step. They need somebody on this roster to be better than they were last year because everybody's been worse. And you need somebody's got to be better, and it has to be the one.
Sorry, people in the chat are asking who's Hamish. That's Haywood Highsmith. That's Tiffany Meek's nickname for him.
Hamish, yeah, he got it back. We actually canceled calling him Hamish, but he's earned it back. Kid plays hard.
He's played great defensively.
Yeah, listen. He plays hard. You cannot. That motherfucker tries. Lord help, he's trying his best, bro.
Yeah.
My man's trying. So yeah, Frankie, he got a. If not him, then who?
It's the improvement, like you said. Like everybody has kind of taken a down year, especially the shooters. The shooting numbers. When we talk about offense, I'm really, really concerned about everyone's shooting taking a dip. But as long as they can defend well enough, and Bam. The thing with Bam, his scoring, it's not just, hitting shots. You're feeling the impact. It's more forceful now. It's decisiveness. It's the spots he's attacking. It's forcing help. He's catching the ball. How many seasons have we been begging for Bam to force a double team in the post? And this is really the first year we're seeing it.
I wonder what his numbers are like as a post-up man. I'm gonna check that.
His isolation numbers. His isolation numbers have always been sneaky, really, really good. Like elite, like 90th percentile in the league every year, pretty much. But the post-ups were definitely a weakness. He's taken advantage of mismatches. He's more forceful. His turnovers have died down too. He had that issue early on, but that's part of the growing pains. When you're casting a role that you're not used to, there's going to be lumps. And you've seen it with Tyler, you've seen it with Bam. I've said coming into the season, if without any moves, this regular season needs to be about Tyler and Bam getting comfortable and by being uncomfortable. Put them in different spots. You need them ready for the postseason. You see a lot of teams throwing doubles at Tyler and traps, throwing different coverages at him, and he needs to beat those. He needs to beat those for the Heat to be successful.
So Bam in isolation, he's at 1.04 points per possession, which, 63rd percentile, not great, not horrible. You know what I mean? So that's good. Looking for his post-up ones now, but I think if his post-up ones are okay. He's 1 point. What is this? Am I looking at the right? No, that's frequency. Excuse me. He is.
You have it at 0.67.
He's 0.93 points per possession as a post-up big, which is not good. He's 44 percentile. So
I feel like he was so bad last season.
Let's check last season. I believe it was something similar.
Really?
Yeah, let's see. Last year he was 0.98 points per possession. He was actually better last year.
Wow. Eye test is not matching that.
Eye test not matching. Well, maybe it's just like the last couple games, and he's not doing it as much. And really, they're not switching because he's slipping on rolls. And I think sometimes when they do switch, it's late clock. And he did something yesterday where he cut to the middle of the floor in mid transition and emergency defense. So he got a small on him, got in, took one dribble, jump hook. That's the kind of stuff we want him to do. I think when they just get like a switch and then they set up shop, that's not his game, and I think we got to stop wanting him to do that. There's other ways to counter switching, and I think the way that they've done it is him slipping and kind of getting into space and making plays and finishing through contact and doing finesse things. That's more kind of what we think he should be doing.
No, but we also called for the guards to throw the lob more, get him involved in the pick and roll. How many times last season was it a 2-on-1 and the guard is shooting a floater over the big instead of throwing? You force the help, give it up, and give Bam the easy 2 points. Don't make it a 50-50 floater. And they did a great job yesterday.
Kyle and Tyler.
Kyle and Tyler, they did a fantastic job getting him in good spots. Brady Hawk mentioned them spamming the pin down curl in the corner to get Bam rolling to the rim with no help, and they did a good job. Sometimes I'm concerned about better teams defensively. I know you said Atlanta's a top 10 defense, but I think that's probably product of their schedule as well. Like, once the scouting department is out on them, the scouting report, excuse me. Once the scouting report's out on them, I think they'll slip a little bit. Maybe still be top 10 because DeJounte is amazing defensively. But once the weak side starts packing the paint, we saw one possession there where they ran the pin down and Caleb set a flare screen for Max to get open in the corner. He took away the nail help. They still got the dunk. But that's a great option for Boston. Like, Boston is going to sit on that and dare you to beat them and not contain that action. They did a great job smothering a lot of their actions. And if Miami's not moving on the weak side, they're going to take that away. I think Bam has done a really good job in taking the responsibilities of the scoring rule, but the Heat taking him out of those DHO responsibilities, playmaking for other guys on the perimeter, being above the 3-point line. I think that's what's opened up everything. You go inside out with Bam because your shooters aren't getting anything going. You set screens for Bam to get him in good position. You run your post splits. You get him the ball where he's comfortable making a decision as a playmaker instead of just a scorer or just a passer. And you see good results, and you've seen that. I'm interested in how it looks with Jimmy, because Bam's kind of defaulted to Jimmy a lot, but we need to see Jimmy empower him too. Like, Jimmy talks a lot about letting Bam, like, he thinks Bam's the best player on the team, letting him be the best player, but on the court we see Jimmy cutting to the basket when Bam's trying to go to the basket as well. So I want to see him let Bam be great too.
Interesting to see here, and this might be noise from early in the season. Bam, 1.16 points per possession as a roll man, which is in the 40th percentile. So that's not great. I'm curious to see how that levels out because he has found a gear that he didn't have. I wanted to find like pick and roll handling for the guard, but like in terms of assists or points created, because like Lowry obviously is not like super scoring off that. You know, Hero's been really good, by the way. Hero's in about a point per possession as a ball handler, and he's in the 82nd percentile. So Hero quietly having a really nice scoring season as a pick and roll player, and I think now that he's integrating the passing as well, that's going to be interesting to see. So let's take a couple questions from our chat. If you guys have anything to ask now. But there were a couple that I saw earlier. I know somebody asked, one of the early questions was about our man Jovic's defense and how he felt about that, kind of keeping with the theme, Frankie. Le Pooper, who gifted the sub to T-Shades 50, says, what are your guys' thoughts on Nicolas D? I don't really see a weakness. He's a smart rotator in the zone, did an excellent job on Porzingis that first meeting, a good rebounder, doesn't fail the eye test. What am I missing? All within the confines of being 19, of course. That's what kind of.
Yeah, I think you're not a fan of Jovic so far. So do you want to address that?
I'm a little mid. I feel like I think for the Heat, and I think it was a problem with their early defense, the Heat aren't fouling a lot, by the way, which is not like a Heat thing. Both teams foul a lot. And I think part of that's by design. I think part of that is they want to be felt. And you get felt by being fucking physical. And it's not that they're like fouling on purpose, but it's more of like the team. It's
just a result.
Yeah, the team is being physical, and they're not fouling as much as they have. I mean, both teams are always one of the most foul heavy teams in the league. They're last in fouling. They foul the least.
That's
in the
probably
league.
due to the zone, though.
Yeah, so they foul the least in the league. And last year, I believe they were 25th. They fouled the fifth most. So they went from not fouling at all to now all of a sudden being the least foul-y team in the league. That to me is an indicator of you're not being physical enough. And yeah, part of that's the zone, and I think part of that's just like the guys. And I think with Jovic, I think, the Pooper, you're absolutely correct. I think he's solid in like his defensive rotations and everything. I just don't. I think he's not making plays, and I think the Heat in general, other than kind of the passing lanes, they're not making plays. And I think when you are physical and you risk fouling, you are putting yourselves in positions to be physical, to make plays, because they're not going to call every foul. And like the Warriors, I know this year are fouling a ton, and that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like it's different. The Heat need that physical. Yeah, the Warriors they foul the most in the league, and that's kind of their defense. By the way, stinks this year. The Heat need that. They need that edge to them, that physicality. They have to be felt. So that's kind of where I am with Jovic, and I just don't think he provides that yet. But I think he'll get there, and I think when his on the floor shooting gets up to where I think it could be, then I think he can contribute a lot to this team. But right now, I'm not seeing it.
You know how we used to talk about with Tyler's passing, that he will see the pass, but it just a split second too late, and the window's closed, and he can't go to it anymore. That's where Jovic is on defense. He's seeing it. He knows where he's supposed to be, but one little move contortion, takes the wrong angle, jumps too early, jumps too late. That's where the defense has been for me. Like I think I see the potential, I see the flashes, I see the effort. There was one play where we talked about it on pre-gaming, where he was on the strong side corner. They gave it up to Porzingis at the elbow, and he went to help at the nail and got back cut on, crashed hard and blocked the shot at the rim, and then Tyler lets offensive rebound go, and they get a dump off for a layup inside. So you can see the effort, you see the instincts, you see the hustle, but part of it, Chad's been talking about his strength. He's wiry. The kid is wiry. Give him a few years. I still think once guys come back, I would like to see him get some time in Sioux Falls, let him get reps and get more acclimated. But I'm comfortable with him and his potential right now. I think the shot's going to fall. Somebody else mentioned his shot not falling. He's been awful on wide open stuff too. So I think eventually that'll balance out, and he'll get his confidence going. He seems like a confident kid. He's a smart player for his age. His IQ is very high.
I get what they see in him. I know the question was more like on defense. And I do think
Real quick, Bronx Joker says something. His body hasn't
Yeah.
caught up to his mind yet. Instinct's still in rookie mode. I really like that point. And the speed. The speed is a big adjustment. You know, he played professionally for a few years, but there's a big difference between the league he played and the current league.
Frankie, I like genuinely think that he, I like his I like his scoring instinct. I think that I like his high-low passing with Bam. And I think that gives them a little interesting element, like how Kelly gave them. The difference between Kelly and him was Kelly moved a lot off the ball and moved east-west more than north-south, because Bam is the north-south mover, right? And I think the way that Kelly and Bam synergized was Kelly was handoff, screen, go back out to the perimeter and screen for another guy, pop. I think Jovic needs more of that. Jovic seems very, very gung-ho about rolling to the rim, which I think is really good. But I think when you play with Bam, you need him to do the other stuff because, to quote the great LeBron James, fit in or fit out. Kind of be a little Kevin Love in you, kind of, handoff, kind of flare, screen for a shooter, then pop. And you give your offense a lot of mobility and motion, and you can have, your ball handler and your center going down. You can do a lot of cool stuff. So I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued.
Agree with that. I'm very intrigued. Yeah, I agree with that. I like that he's gone in and been aggressive, because that was one of my biggest concerns offensively was him finishing at the rim. But he's done a great job, especially against centers and bigs. Like, he's held his own. It's probably numbers aren't that insane. But because he's had some easy finishes that once he gets stronger, he'll understand how to take it and it'll be easier. But he's not afraid to go inside, and I like that about him.
Frankie, last thing before we're done, not a Heat question. What the fuck is going on with Bobo?
He's the GOAT.
This is crazy. Brian put in our chat, I'll never forgive Pat.
He was going to have the greatest draft in Heat history, and he gave it away. Bobo.
That was the year that they drafted Bam, right?
No, that was the year they drafted Tyler.
Oh man, that's right. That was a fun draft.
I think that was Tyler and KZ. He could have had Tyler, KZ, and Bobo, and it would have been all the limbs next to T-Rex arms.
We really gave up. What was it? 3 second-round picks for fucking KZ Okpala.
Pat's guy.
Listen, we really talked ourselves into KZ. Is there a worse player that we've talked ourselves into as a fan base?
Wayne Simeon.
I
thought he was going to be good.
But, we all collectively thought that KZ was going to be a solution to problems. And he was just never good. He even got Nikias.
Nikias is always about, giving the young guys a chance, though. He's definitely shown flashes defensively, but it's more the profile. Like, he's athletic, he's long. He doesn't look super awkward defensively. He just has no instincts defensively. Like, if he's not on the ball, he's not really impacting games. I think it was Danny Martinez that just he puts nothing in the box score. It's like the what's that guy's name? The Tony Snell meme that is 28 minutes, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists.
He's
0
on the
blocks,
Kings,
0 steals.
by the way. Somebody asked.
Yeah, he's Mike Brown is the coach of the national team for, I think it's Nigeria.
Yeah,
and really loved KZ, so they signed him.
1.6 points per game.
He's doing more than Wayne Simeon.
No turnovers. That's a plus. Shooting 33% from 3. So good for you, KZ Okpala. People are like Dexter Pittman. I don't think we ever tried to convince ourselves that Dexter Pittman was going to be good. I think we were hoping that Dexter Pittman could contribute, but I don't think any of us thought that Dexter Pittman is going to be a difference maker
Oh, that no, they said that the UD thing. They were like they
Who
just had a
said that,
guy in that era. Everybody, all the
bro? I
Heat
was
Twitter
there.
was
No, we
like,
weren't.
yes, we were.
No,
We were
we
like they were gonna
weren't.
look at the work ethic. We've made this guy lose 150
That
pounds,
was Eddie
whatever it was.
Curry.
No, it was Pittman too. Pittman was a
I
fat
I
boy.
don't remember us doing that with Pittman.
Yes, we
People are like
did.
Shabazz Napier. Shabazz is like was an NBA
Shabazz-
player for like a decade. Like that was like
Shabazz was solid.
yeah,
I didn't even like the pick, but I hated that we gave up on him for in a year.
yeah, dude. Chesney, I don't remember us doing it with Pittman. I was there, bro. I was on Twitter. I was there. I don't know. People are saying Josh McRoberts.
He wasn't a draft pick.
He was. It's different. Although I did do that with McRoberts. I did like, oh my god, Bosch and McBobs. You know, together
Those
they have
lineups
a
were
90
good.
defensive rating, huh?
Those lineups were really good.
Bro, those
I love-
lineups killed, dude. I'm still like, if they got to play together, we could have fixed that shit.
That Rio, McBob, Bosch, Justice, and Josh lineup was
the
so
lefty
fun.
lineup. Yeah. The all lefty
That
lineup.
shit- That
Coach.
shit was so fun. When Mario was just allowed to shoot,
Miss Mario.
it wasn't great. Like he was shooting like 30% before he got traded to Memphis, but it was fun. It was
I'll
just
never
chaos.
fucking forgive Spo for not playing Chalmers on New Year's Eve last year.
Oh my god.
I'm like that to me. Spo died to me that day because we came here. That was our most downloaded episode of the last 5 years. That episode where we got Chalmers and we did the whole celebration. That was more downloaded than they've been to the finals. They've played in huge playoff games. Pale in comparison to the Mario Chalmers reunion pod. He never played a minute. Fuck you, Eric Spoelstra. Somebody's gonna clip that out of context.
The Rio, we had Bam's block. We've had Coach David Thorpe on. We've had
So
a lot
many
of
things.
great episodes since then. And
We've had
we-
players on. We've had Solomon
Yeah.
Hill come on and talk about anime and protesting. We've had award shows that we've had Deadman come on. You know what I mean? Like we've had like legitimate guests. We had Tyler Johnson on at the height of my beef with Tyler Johnson. We had Jay Rich on, Kelly, and none of it compared to just people excited because Mario Chalmers came back.
You know, when you have a legend like Mario Chalmers, and it was so unexpected. I think that's why everyone was just so surprised. It was really a moment in time.
Somebody goes, we had Mike on. Like, yeah, Mike Ryan next to Heat players. Media vocal Mike Ryan. I had Mike Ryan on like 4 or 5 times. Mike Ryan's part of the show at this point.
We've had like all of the Lebatard show on, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we've had Ant. Or I guess I call him Tony now.
Yeah.
Tony. We haven't had Guillermo. Guillermo doesn't really do basketball.
You know, that's we were supposed to have him on Hangover Time. What's this guy's name? I forgot his name. He got ditched. Guillermo was waiting for the link and they never sent him the link.
Was it
I'm
Cody?
forgetting this guy's. I'm blanking on his name, and he's been on Streambeat. Oh,
Okay,
This
whatever.
is
Well,
awful.
regardless, yeah. So that's somebody in chat said wait, I wanted to read a message, I lost it. Oh yeah, wish we got 1 year.
Lorenzo. God
Lorenzo,
damn it.
yeah, we got 1 year of Bosch, Dang, Dragic, and Wade. Listen, Luol Deng is a perfect 4 next to Bam. I've been saying it for years.
Well, dang, he gave us the last of his knees.
Listen, I was an Uncle Lou lifer. Man, I love that team. I thought that team that lost to the Raptors in Game 7, if everybody didn't get hurt, I thought that team was going to the finals. I wrote back when I used to write, they played Cleveland and they basically publicly executed Cleveland here in Miami. It was a fucking bloodbath. They destroyed them. And I wrote that this game is a fucking threat.
How many times have you fucking said that?
I like saying it. It feels good. You know what I mean? Listen, a writer always goes back to their wheelhouse. You know what I mean? You have a phrase you like and you just go to it. But
It was-
you know,
Just consistent by you.
Hassan went down, and that's all. You know, that's all she wrote. Justice played. You know, Toronto game 7 at the 5.
I'm so surprised that Spo didn't trust Amari a little bit. Amari was their center for a lot of that.
Forgot that Amari was on that team.
He was good, legitimately good during that last stretch. He was salty.
Now canceled.
Is he?
Yeah, he said massively homophobic things.
Oh, breaking news to me.
Yeah, I know. Solana and I were really sad because we were Amari lifers, and it was legitimately heartbreaking.
Oh God.
Yeah, no,
that was awful.
Yeah, I wanted Amari over Bosch.
You did at that time?
I did. I went the free agency. I was like, bro, in my defense, it's like imagine prime D Wade and Amari pick and roll.
Yeah, that would have been nasty.
Dude, I was like,
no defense.
Fucking, who cares? Just fucking points and vibes, bro.
No, Amari was arguably could have been MVP that first year in New York. I wanted Bosch. My worst take of all time was I didn't want LeBron.
I didn't want him either. I didn't like him. I was an anti-LeBron guy.
I wanted Dwayne to have all the credit.
Me too. And when LeBron was here, they were pretty even that season. I think their points per game were like 25 each, and I think they had very comparable seasons. And then obviously Dwayne exploded in the playoffs and in the finals specifically. So I was pretty bummed out. I mean, I eventually got over it, and I love Bron. Like I give him shit, but I do like that guy, and I don't wish him the best on the court, but I do love him. It's weird. I can't describe my relationship with LeBron. It's very complicated.
I loved him for those 4 years. After that, he can go to hell.
I'm not quite there, but well, Luol Deng, by the way, lifer in my opinion.
Lifer.
White Hot Take says I was convinced Wade was better than Bron that first year. Yeah, me too.
I mean, that first year he kind of was.
I mean, literally, I think
finals MVP from him.
That was Dwayne's last superstar year.
Yeah,
that was the last.
He was really good,
but it wasn't the same.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But the playoffs, like we don't talk about Dwayne from Indiana on. Like Dwayne in that Indiana series legitimately saved that series.
I think if he doesn't do that, the league looks so different.
Yeah,
I think
they blow up that team.
Man, I don't know how many people were around for that and were on Twitter for that. I'll never forget. What was it? It was game 3. They lost game 3. Then they're in Indiana game 4, and it looks abysmal that first quarter. And Dwayne can't get a fucking thing going. And I remember texting one of my good friends. I was like, "Oh, it's done. This team, they're gonna break. This is over. They're gonna break it up. We lost to the fucking Pacers." LeBron gets Dwayne a dunk at the half.
Gets them going.
Tore them apart, and they terrorized them for the next 3 fucking years.
Oh my God. I know Roy Hibbert has nightmares about the Dwayne Wade floater.
Bro, Dwayne, because LeBron couldn't do shit against it. Dwayne's like zigzagging, slithering through. What a time to be.
God.
Then Bosch was down too. Bosch went down on Mother's Day. That was the worst Mother's Day ever. Fucking sucked, bro.
Dwayne teaching LeBron the floater game, and remember Dwayne had to have that meeting with Tom Crean. His former
God knows
coach.
what happened. Dwayne tells that story really ominously that there was a lot of prayer and candle. Like, what the fuck were you doing?
Well, they were in danger of going down 3-1.
Yeah, game 4 was and Dwayne looked bad in the beginning of game 4.
Yeah,
game 3 was Bumpgate. Or no, not Bumpgate. It was when Spo and Dwayne yelled at each other when I think Dwayne told Spo, "I fucking made you and I'll end you."
Yeah,
BDE.
He was tired of the offense as well.
And it's funny because like we'll talk about like this team, and it'll never feel like that. Even though this collection of talent has played in like big, huge games, it'll never feel like that. That felt like that shit was just bigger than sports, bro.
And we were also a lot younger. Like I think that's
true
age.
too.
We were 19, and I think we all recognize that this is the biggest sports moment of our life. Like, there's no team in any of our fan bases like they're gonna have a bigger moment than this. Having the best player in the sport, and
arguably the second best player in the sport,
and with a top 20 player as well. Like, everyone hated us. Like,
it felt so good. Bronx Joker says that was hot sex every night.
Oh my God.
Heat Magic, hot sex. 27. Bro, they had a 27. They didn't lose a basketball game for like 2 months. They went 2 fucking months and they didn't lose a fucking basketball game. Every time you watch those people for 2, man, if they win 5 in a row, even last year, we throw a fucking party.
I still hate Rick Bucher to this day.
Fuck Rick Bucher.
'Cause of
Is he
it.
the one that said that Derrick Rose should win MVP
Yes.
because he misses so many layups that he gives his team offensive rebound opportunities? God damn
Yes.
it. Like, there's something that was ingrained in us back then that'll never leave.
I still hate. There's so many reporters and from that era that I still can't fucking stand.
Wilbon, Simmons,
Wilbon, Broussard,
John Barry, wherever he is.
Bruce, Beadle, Michelle Beadle.
Oh, Michelle Beadle. The beef with Michelle Beadle. Broussard.
I hated all of them just because it that's when the
Somebody just goes, Ira.
that's when the coverage changed, because back then before that there was a very like the code was you can't root for a team, like you can't root for or against a team, you can't make it obvious. That was the journalistic code. But as soon as LeBron and Bosch came down here, it was fucking different.
Do you remember the statistic, Frankie, that a game 7 against the Pacers, the second year in the conference finals, 88% of TVs in South Florida had that game on.
No, I don't.
Bro, we don't give a shit about anything in this city, and we cared about them.
It was a fucking moment in time.
Everything
we'll
was a
never forget
moment.
that.
Every game was a moment, and it was magic. It was mad. It was literally a dream, and we woke up from it. And then Hassan was reality.
And then Hassan is fucking dancing in the locker room, doing running around. Do you have the video?
No, I don't. Do you know how they struggle to, like, they can't find a 4? Do you know how many fucking power forwards would be lining up right now to take the minimum if LeBron, Wade, and Bosch in their prime? You don't understand. Bray Allen came here for nothing. Shane Battier came here. Do you know what this team would fucking do for a Shane Battier? Do you know the crimes that Eric Spoelstra would commit for a Shane Battier?
You know, Dedmon's been better lately, but you know how much early season this season could have used Ronnie Turiaf?
Dude. Oh,
We could have used Ronnie.
Bro, I mean, those big 3 teams were strapped for fucking backup 5s. They would have taken Deadman.
They had like 8 backup 5s and none of them were good.
They were all bad.
Big Cat, fucking Jamal McGlure, Big Z, Eddie Curry, and then who was the
Birdman.
guy that Birdman was great though.
But when they found Birdman, that was, when we signed Birdman, my dad called me and he goes, "Who's this Birdman that they got?" And I go, "He's just another bad center that they're gonna try to use. He won't last." Worst take ever, bro. Didn't he go like a whole playoff series, like 3 rounds without missing a fucking shot?
He was shooting like 93%.
Crazy.
Like
That's the kind of shit that was happening. Your fucking backup 5 literally didn't miss a shot for like 2 months. That's what we lived, bro. Now we gotta watch.
PG dunked on him and brought him back there.
Now we gotta watch fucking Haywood Highsmith miss point blank layups. This fucking sucks, dude.
Never be another time like that.
There'll
That was
never
fun.
be another time like that. We love you.
I still hate Mike Bibby, even though he looks like a fucking Power Rangers villain right now.
Chase Fitty says Ilgauskas. We're literally doing that thing. Have you ever seen that tweet? It's like, man, dudes will just say random athletes and have a good time. This is literally what the chat is right now. It's like, just no context. Big Z, Joel Anthony, Dampier, Damps, running in Chancleta's ass.
Oh my god.
We gave a
What an era.
standing ovation to Mike Bibby.
Maybe that wasn't the best time in Heat basket.
No. Well, now Mike Bibby's jacked. Mike Bibby looks like a fucking UFC fighter. Mike Bibby could probably play the 4.
Perfect forward next to Bam.
Yeah, we were like random Heat players having a great time. That's how we are. Loved spending the evening with y'all, chat. Once again, congrats to Shades Fitty for the baby. Shout
Shades
out to chat.
daddy.
Carlos Arroyo. Yeah, that's right, Carlos. Carlos used to play at Olympic Park in Kendall, and he used to like knock dudes over and get big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Olympic
That's
Park
funny.
in Kendall. Yeah.
We had Jay Will came to my high school to play like a semi-pro game. I didn't even know that we were hosting those at the time, but he came in and he didn't want to sign any autographs. He's like, "Fuck you guys."
Chat's like, you remember Wang Zizi, Michael Doliak?
Wang
Okay,
Zizi.
I'll close on a Michael Doliak story. So my friend in high school, they were doing the Heat players were doing a signing, an autograph signing at a Publix. It was UD and Michael Doliak. My friend was waiting in line. UD shift ended. He leaves. My friend's next in line. Michael Doliak sits down. My friend's like, man, I don't want a fucking autograph from Michael Doliak. And then he left.
The fucking disrespect. That's an NBA champion right there.
That's a goddamn MVP. Didn't they use Michael Doliak to like imitate Dirk?
No, that was Earl Barron.
I was like, there was some dude that Pat's like, you're Dirk.
I had such faith in Earl Barron and Darrell Wright. I was like, Darrell's gonna be the fucking.
Darrell was
Pippen
good.
to Dwayne.
Darrell was good.
I remember I sent
Joey Hauschauer's the Michael Doliak of MVP. Hold on. I'm gonna screenshot that and send it to chat, to our group chat.
I said Sedano was still doing AM radio at the time for the first year, and they lost like the first game. And I sent a text message to the radio station. I'm on my way to a 7 a.m. class, and I hear on the radio Sedano brings up this comment, my text right before the break, so you know he was gonna laugh at it, and he goes, "We should have brought back Darrell Wright. Darrell Wright!" And he starts laughing and cuts to commercial. And I'm just like morbid by myself. Like, God damn it. I thought that was a good take. He shot like 40% that year. We could have used Darrell Wright.
Good. Darrell was good. It was like someone in Kenny's mentions like talking shit about Quentin Richardson. Bro, I would take 2009, 2010 Q Rich right now.
Who's the most random Heat player of the last like 20 years?
Jacobo
that you would
Diawara.
take?
Oh, that I would take?
No,
that I
fuck
would
that
take?
guy.
That I would
That you
take?
would take for this team right now.
Jermaine O'Neal.
Ooh, okay. I like the Q Rich one. Q Rich.
No, I would take Q Rich. Like realistically, I'd take Q Rich. Give you a wing. Luol Deng is too good.
Luol Deng's too good, yeah.
Luol Deng's too good.
It needs to be like a bench guy or like a not really good Heat team.
I'm not gonna lie, like Jacobo Diawara. Somebody chat saying Jamario Moon equals Caleb Martin. That's
Sean Marion would be really fucking.
He's
fun
too
on
good, bro.
He is too good.
That's
but
a former All-Star. Yeah, no, you can't do that.
God.
Posey's too. So chat saying James Posey.
Too good.
Posey's too good. It has to be like a random dude. Lamar Odom's too good. That's not the game. You guys are naming borderline Hall of Famers. yeah,
Ricky
bro.
Davis.
I take Dwayne Wade. So random.
I think
Q. Somebody says Jason Capono. We have Jason.
Capono
at home. We have Jason Capono at home. Oh, Michael Beasley. I would take Michael Beasley.
I would too.
I take Michael Beasley.
Bees would be funny.
I take Bees. Perfect 4 next to Bam.
Bees would be enjoyable at least.
They just haven't had like a lot of. You know who I take, Frankie?
Who?
I take Luke Babbitt. I would just do the thing where Spo starts him for like 6 minutes, doesn't play him until the third quarter.
That's what he did with Jovic, basically, for the last.
When you're saying that, we have Luke Babbitt at home.
We got foreign. We got international Luke Babbitt.
Somebody's like, what do we got? We got Bruce Bowen. These guys are too good. We're talking about like the Jacobo Diawara, like a dude you haven't thought of. Like, who the fuck has thought of Jermaine O'Neal in the last fucking 10 years?
McBob would actually probably help this.
Oh,
team.
I would. No, man, I'm just traumatized because like McBob just stopped wanting to shoot. Although McBob kind of athletic,
fit right in.
Yeah, McBob is the kind of guy that Siobhan would love. Athletic, long, active,
passing,
a lot of length. Yeah. Derek Anderson. Did the Heat have Derek Anderson?
Yeah, he was on the championship team.
You're right, he was. I forgot about that. Leif would be so disappointed.
He wore 49. That's how I remember him.
Somebody said Ryan Anderson. My lasting memory of Ryan Anderson, I think of in two ways. One, I was in the locker room waiting for Goran, and Ryan goes, he's eating cheese, like cheese blocks, like on like toothpicks, and he just looks at me. He's like, Did you need me? I go, no, I'm waiting for Goran. He goes, yeah, nobody really wants to talk to me.
Aw, that's so
I was
sad.
like, no, Ryan.
Did you see him at dinner once with like?
That was the second story. So Ryan Anderson missed a road trip for quote personal reasons. Christian, Brian Goins, and the girlfriends of them, and I think did Alf go? I don't think Alf went. We went to KYU in Wynwood and then so it's behind me, and Christian goes, personal reasons is sitting behind you, and I look back and it's fucking Ryan Anderson. So good meal.
I think Brock's Joker has the winner. It's Beno Udrich.
Oh my god, the Alf. Yo, you talk to Alf about Beno. That's well, A, that's a lifer, and B, that's like Alf's favorite backup point guard.
He was so solid. I love him.
He was Gabe Vincent before Gabe Vincent. Bro, he would protect. If you fucking gave him a 2-point lead, you were coming back with a 2-point lead. If you were down 2, you were coming back down 2.
He was like a consistent 6 and 4 and 2.
And he wouldn't turn the ball over. He would make enough. He would do like that stop, fake, like up through jump shot from the mid-range. Always hit it. I never seen him miss it.
Money.
Yeah, just
you know who I would take? A guy we haven't talked about in a while, Udonis Haslem.
Oh, I would take like 09 UD.
Oh, money.
Bro, 09 UD with Bam. Somebody's like Zoran Dragic. Yo, the Zoran Michael Beasley game.
God.
In Orlando.
The one game
I take Henry Walker. I would take Henry Walker.
No.
I take Bill Walker.
The one game Henry Walker. The one game we're trying to tank, Henry Walker's like, oh, I can shoot
Bill
again.
Bill Walker. I'm taking Billiam. I'm taking Billiam. I'm taking Bill Walker, dude.
So bad.
No,
Tyler Johnson. That's my final answer. Tyler Johnson. I would love Bumpy on this team.
Oh, Tyler would actually beat. I'd rather have Tyler.
Tyler would be amazing.
Would you rather have Tyler or Gabe?
Tyler?
Oh! See you guys on Wednesday for Hangover Time and Pre-Gaming.